Hello, and welcome to Speak Honest. I am your host and certified relationship coach, Jenn Noble. It has been my passion for over a decade to help women like you heal what's been holding you back from having the relationships you deserve. Are you struggling with a relationship where you can't seem to voice your emotions, needs, and boundaries without having it blow up in your face? Then you have found the right podcast, my friend. Get ready for practical tips, empowering truths, and honest conversations. Now, let's dive in. Hello, ladies, and welcome back to another episode of Speak Honest. I'm Jenn Noble, your go-to relationship coach and author of the best-selling book, Dance of Attachment. And this month, we are doing something I am genuinely excited about. All August long, we are walking through the 4 attachment stances, one at a time. Anxious, avoidant, disorganized, and secure. And I want to pause on the word stance for just a second because I use that word on purpose. I don't call these attachment styles because a style is something you pick out, right? It's last year's skinny jeans. It's a haircut. It's the way you take your coffee. What we're talking about is not a preference. It's something your body learned to hold long before you had any say in it. A stance is a position your nervous system settled into because at some point it worked. It kept you safe. Or, as safe as you could get. So this month isn't about labeling yourself. It's about finally understanding the choreography you've been dancing this whole time, often, without even realizing there was a routine at all. And today we start with the one I probably get asked more about than any other, anxious attachment, or as I call it, the Salsa of Uncertainty. And if you've ever had plans fall apart at the last minute and felt your whole evening, or honestly your whole week, spiral because of it, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. The plan, maybe it gets canceled. And it's not just disappointment that you feel. It's your mind sprinting through every possible reason why, replaying the last conversation, drafting and deleting texts, calling a friend just to talk it through one more time. That spiral is what we're getting into today. What's actually happening underneath it and where it comes from. Now, before we dive in, I want to tell you about something. Inside the Speak Honest Academy, this is exactly the kind of pattern we work on together. Live group coaching calls, we do real-time regulation work, and not just talking about your attachment stance, but actually practicing something different in real time to heal it. Now, I'll tell you more about how to get started at the end of the episode, but for now, let's dive in. So let's name what's actually happening in anxious attachment, or as I call it, the salsa of uncertainty. And I call it that because that's exactly the feeling. I want you to picture a dance floor where everyone else looks like they're moving with ease, in rhythm, following the music without even thinking about it. And you're out there too, fully present, fully invested, but you're not really dancing. You're scanning. You're preoccupied. Did I say the wrong thing? Are they pulling away? Should I text again? Should I wait? The moves that come out of this are things almost every anxiously attached woman will recognize. There's the hypervigilance, where you can read a room, a tone, a single missing exclamation point faster than anyone around you ever could. Then there's the reaching for reassurance, wanting to hear that everything is okay all the time. And not because you're needy, but because your body genuinely needs that data to feel safe. And then there's the protest behavior, picking a fight or pulling back yourself just to see if they'll come closer, maybe if they'll even fight for you or chase you. And then there's the people pleasing and becoming whoever feels safest to be in the moment. And I had a client, Amber, who came to me convinced there was something fundamentally wrong with her. 3 breakups in 2 years and every time the same story. I give everything, she would tell me, right? I'm always available, always supportive, and they still leave. She was certain that the problem was that she just loved too much. But here's what I want you to really hear, okay? And this is what I told Amber. What you have isn't a character flaw, and you don't just love too much. It's an extraordinary capacity to read people, to attune to the smallest shifts in someone's mood, turned into a full-time coping strategy. And that skill, well, it kept Amber safe once, and I'm sure it keeps you safe. It just hadn't been given anywhere else to go. So where does a pattern like that even come from? Well, with Amber, we traced it back to her childhood pretty quickly, as most things do, and her mom struggled with depression, which meant some days she was warm and present, but other days she couldn't even get out of bed. Amber learned to read her mother's mood within seconds of walking through the door, and she got remarkably good at it. If it was a good day, she'd be extra sweet to make sure she kept it that way. But if it's a bad day, she'd try to fix it. But that taught her 3 things that followed her into every relationship since. That love is unpredictable, that managing other people's emotions is her job, and that when someone pulls away, the answer is to work even harder to bring them back. Now, this lines up with the research that's been around for several years. Since like the 1970s. Mary Ainsworth ran a now famous study watching how babies responded when their mothers left a room and then came back. It's called the strange situation. You can look it up on YouTube. And what she found in anxiously attached babies was that they stayed distressed even after their mom returned. They wanted the comfort, sure. They just couldn't quite let it land. They couldn't receive it. And that's not just a baby thing. A lot of us are still doing this exact same thing, the same version of the dance well into adulthood. And there's a real physical piece here too. Neuropsychologist Louis Cozolino has pointed out that anxious attachment shows up as heightened activity in the brain's threat detection system. Your amygdala treats an unanswered text the same way it might treat an actual threat, and your body responds accordingly. It starts pumping out cortisol, it starts tightening your chest, speeding up your heart rate. And Gabor Mate's work on the body and stress backs all of this up too. This is why I always say this isn't really a communication problem. It's a nervous system problem first. And it's also part of why anxious and avoidant partners are so drawn to each other. What therapist Sue Johnson calls the pursue and withdrawal dance. You sense distance and you move closer. They feel crowded, so they pull back. And the whole thing confirms both people's deepest fears. Now, here's the part I actually love talking about because it's the part that changed everything for Amber. Once she understood that this pattern was learned, not something baked into who she fundamentally is, that meant something inside of her started to shift. She stopped asking, what's wrong with me? And she started asking, what did I learn? And what can I learn instead? Now, this shift is so important because of something called neuroplasticity, which is just your brain can build new patterns at any age. And psychologist Donald Hebb's research on this is often summed up as neurons that fire together, wire together, which means the more you practice a new response, the more natural it becomes. This is me telling you that acting this way is not a life sentence. It's a skill you just haven't fully learned yet. And Brené Brown has this line I come back to constantly, that we are biologically, cognitively, physically, and spiritually wired for connection. That craving that Amber felt, that ache for closeness, that was never the problem. It's actually one of her greatest strengths. The work wasn't to feel less. It was to stop outsourcing her sense of safety to whether someone else responded fast enough and start leading herself back to steady instead. That's really the whole shift. Moving from managing everyone else's emotional temperature to regulating your own first. So if you've recognized yourself in any of this today, the scanning, the reaching, the people-pleasing, the way your whole week can shift because of one slow reply, then I want you to hear what Amber eventually understood. This was never about being too intense or giving too much or loving too hard. It was a finely tuned skill that once kept you safe. And now? Now it's ready to be pointed somewhere new. You already know how to read a room better than anyone, girl. Now it's time to learn how to read yourself. All right, everyone, thank you so much for being here with me today. If any part of this episode felt like maybe it hit a little too close to home, I want you to know that's not something you have to sit with on your own. I offer a free 30-minute attachment assessment, just you and me, where we will work together to get clear on exactly which attachment stance you're dancing and talk through what it would actually take to shift it. And if it feels like a fit, that conversation is also your way into the Speak Honest Academy, where we do the real work together. The regulation, the practice, the learning a new rhythm in real time with real support all around you. Now you can find the link to schedule your attachment assessment with me at danceofattachment.com/assessment, or just check the show notes. It'll be right there. All right, everyone. I will speak with you all next week. Take care. As we wrap up today's conversation, always remember that healing is a journey, not a destination. And it is an honor to be a part of your healing journey. If you want to dig deeper into the topics we covered today, be sure to head over to our show notes, where you can find all of the valuable information mentioned in today's episode right there. And please remember to rate, review, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's podcast. Your feedback means the world to us and helps others discover our podcast. Until next time, remember to speak up and speak honest.